Yo, what's up, manga fans? This is Rafael from C Manga, and I'm here to give you a review of this week's chapter of Bleach 565, God Like You. And when I first read the chapter, I was kind of initially disappointed with Kubo because I was like, where's Ruka at? Like, I thought we were going to see her fight, and I was obviously, expecting that because of the way things led up before. But after reading this chapter like 3 times, I have to say I'm very impressed. Kubo's done a really good chapter this week, and probably one of the best so far this arc in terms of character reveal and development. I'd say just as good as the whole Ishin flashback arc, which I really did enjoy. And yeah, it's mostly this chapter just gave us reveals and theories, and basically answered questions to certain things, and it was really well done. But it kind of made it very dark and dire, the situation right now with this whole war. It's like, the war is more or less a lie if you think about it, with considering Juha's, you might as well say his motive and his goal. It's very selfish and actually misleading to both sides. Well, not to the Quincy's, all of them, I could assume. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. The chapter was, as I said, dedicated to Juha, and we see, like, at the beginning there's basically like an origin for him, like description, and it's basically when he was a baby he was more or less like a lifeless doll. He couldn't hear, speak, any sort of natural human functions he was unable to do, so he couldn't feel any sensations, but in his mind he somehow believed he would survive regardless of having nothing. And excuse me. Yeah, so there was these people who worshipped him like a treasure, a miracle baby, and they could heal themselves by touching him. Any ailment, even like someone who lacks courage, could become courageous by touching him. And this was done by him giving his a piece of his soul to others, and that would heal them. But there was like a catch to it, because it was like when he gave this piece of soul to the people, everything, like their knowledge, skills and power, anything that they had would go into this piece of soul. So when they died, it went back to him and made him stronger. And these people didn't last very long either. It could be a few years, a few months, even days. They would die and eventually go back to Juha, making him much stronger. All the soul pieces he had would return to him in the end, and this is basically what kept him alive for so many years, like centuries, you might as well say. And as we see, he gets stronger with every obviously soul that comes back to him, and he can start to move his limbs. He could hear and see, and he could hear they were chanting the name of a god they worship. On the manga reader thing it says Juha Viha, but the manga stream one says Yach, so I'm assuming they're most likely the same thing. Either way, this is the name he took on for himself, and that's what he called himself from now on. And yeah, he basically, that is the origin of his power and his strength, and why he's so damn freaking old and still able to live, and he's just a human. So yeah, we go into the present. We see that he realizes James has died because he's a part of him, and he's going to return to Juha, who's happy about that. He's like, I should pat myself on the back. But what was interesting about that was we see that James was actually like, the main component, or the actual person, and Mask was, like the side part. So he was like the extension of James being, I guess he's like, you might as well say Mask was the weapon and James was the actual wielder, the person. So that was kind of funny to realize that freaking big guy was not actually, who he was supposed to be. He was more or less just the tool. And then later we see Uryu, he finally gets a spotlight again, and he wanted to speak to Juha, but he's interrupted by Hashwell saying that right now he's sleeping, we're not to disturb him, because this is when he's becoming a Quincy father again by restoring his strength. And he asks him what's wrong, and it's like there's nothing wrong, and it's like I don't want to tell you anything, I just want to ask Juha a question. So from here, he also notices that Hashwell seems different today, the look on his face, and he basically says that right now, because Juha you've becoming the Quincy father again, he's sleeping and healing. That means Hashwell basically gets the mask of leadership. He's, you might as well say, second in command. He takes the role while the king goes to sleep, and that's basically what he does all the time. And he talks about how he's another side of him, and then he's like, no, every Quincy is a part of him. And he even says to Ryu, considering you're going to be the heir, you might as well learn about Juha's origin, which is, what we heard earlier. He can give his piece of his soul to others, which is the opposite of Quincy's, who collect reishi to make themselves stronger. But this is another interesting part, because we find out more about the initials. He explains that Juha found a more powerful way of basically giving pieces of his soul to people, and that was basically embedding an initial in someone's soul. So the stone rooters have that. They have a soul for the power. So B being bang, or E for explosion. You know what I'm talking about. All of those would inscribed in the person. That would make the bond and the soul, you might as well say, giving much stronger. So when it went back now, it was much stronger and more effective for Juha, and would make him much stronger in the end. So he's already said Uryu's got the initial, and by the look of his face, he's shocked by that. And he said from that ritual, when you drank the blood, he was given the initial A, which we all know, and it's too late for Uryu to regret it. Hashwal believes that Uryu only accepted the invite because he wanted to avenge his mum. So it seems like Hashwal and Juha were already onto Uryu from time ago, and that whole blood drinking ritual was basically like the seal for Uryu. There's no escape for him now. And it even goes on to say that this whole war, as I said, was basically a lie, and just for Juha's benefit. It's like all of his pieces are scattered all over Serite, so in these battles, and this battle is just for him. So all the Sternritters and Shinigami who have touched any piece of his soul will be absorbed when they die. So you might as well say this is a selfish war just for Juha. It's not any revenge mission or anything. It's just an excuse to make him, live longer, like he's lived for these 900 odd years. So that whole 900 years, 90 days or 90 months, 9 days thing, and 9 hours or whatever it was, that all makes sense. This is what he does to keep himself alive. And it's like literally no matter what they do, they can't escape it. That no one can basically get away from this. And at the end, we see Juha wakes up and say, "You can see the world clearly. I should thank everyone who died for my sake." So yeah, it was a very interesting chapter of learning about Juha's origin. I feel like in the future we're gonna understand why the Soul King is so damn important. I think he's like the other side of Juha, like two sides to the same coin. Juha being, you might as well say, the god of Quincy's, and the Soul King basically being the god of Shinigami. So I'm wondering what's so damn important and how they're interlinked. Aizen seems like he might have a clue about that. It's also interesting that Hashwat kind of revealed how to beat Juha. It's like if he stops eating souls, you might as well say he'll go back to how he was, and then you could kill him. So simple as that, I guess. But how that's going to happen, we have no clue. How is Uryu even going to inform the Shinigami about this? Because I do have a feeling he will somehow try to inform the Shinigami about Juha's special power. And in the end, I think Ichigo, obviously, he's going to be the one to take down Juha, and he'll most likely free all these trapped souls maybe that he's eaten, maybe even his mum as well. I mean, it's said, I just really enjoyed this chapter. I could go on for so long about all these things all these theories that could happen, but that's, I'll just leave it at that. That's all I can think is this is where it seems to be going. Juha being the final major hurdle, and he's pretty much unstoppable at this point if he can just eat souls and keep himself alive and get stronger from the people he eats. So yeah, that was a chapter for today. I can't wait to see what the following chapters are going to be like. Hopefully you get to see Rukia, because I don't want her to be pushed aside or forgotten. I want to see her Bankai, because I definitely think she has one. After Renji's reveal last week of how he obtained these real Bankai, that he had to earn the right to use the real name that Ichibei gave him. So hopefully we'll have a similar thing for her. And as I said, this whole Juha reveal was brilliant, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more into that, and how Uryu's going to cope with this, because he's more or less screwed himself over now he's trapped. So yeah, that's all I can say. Definitely a brilliant chapter, good reveal. and I can't wait for the next one. So you guys know the usual. If you got any comments, opinions, or predictions about this chapter and the next one, leave them in the comment box below. Also, leave us a like, because we really do appreciate it, or dislike it if you didn't. It's up to you. And also subscribe for more content in the channel if you're brand new. As you can check out on the top right, most of our latest stuff that we do, or 2 of our latest stuff. So yeah, that's it for me, guys, and I'll speak to you guys next week.